Hi, I'm Jeff Collett. I'm from Colorado State University, and our project is looking at noise and air emissions from unconventional oil and gas development in the Denver-Julesburg Basin of Colorado. We're still busy in the field, but we're getting through a lot of the measurements that we designed in the study. We've gone through well drilling and hydraulic fracturing. We're trying now to finish up some of our final measurements of flowback processes. And so we're diving into a lot of those data. We're looking at how concentrations are changing near pads on both longer and shorter timescales. We've also done some interesting work lately constraining emissions from some other operations that we've studied recently to try and get new information about emission rates of benzene and other VOCs tied to specific processes. And then finally, we're also getting busier now working with the other teams in the tracer collaboration on developing models to predict what emissions and concentration fields will look like from hypothetical future operations. So we've done a fair amount of community engagement with a variety of stakeholders. So we've had now 2 open houses or town hall type events. We had a lot of local government folks come to those, some from industry, state government, and some just general members of the public. We also work a lot with talking directly to oil and gas operators to understand more about the operations, to better interpret some of the observations that we're making. And then we've also interacted quite a bit, for example, with what used to be the Colorado Oil and Gas Conservation Commission and other stakeholders like that. Yes, well, we're hoping that all of these different stakeholders will be interested in the findings and the tools that are developed, but maybe use them in different ways. So, for example, the model that's being developed, we really would like, local governments or people they're working with to be able to basically think about a possible future operation, what sorts of activities will be happening, what emission management practices are planned, and predict what sorts of concentrations people living near these operations might be exposed to at different phases of operations. For industry, they're quite interested in some of the emissions we're finding, especially for shorter term transition processes where there isn't as much information historically. And so we think that will be interesting for them as well. So the Tracer Collaboration are 3 teams that HEI Energy has funded. We're working especially with the team from UT Austin on developing what's called the Tracer model. Our part of that is to focus on pre-production operations, detailed VOC speciation, and we'll be using that model to look at sort of individual pad level emissions, whereas the UT team is focused a bit more on regional emissions from many different operations. But we're working together on various parts of how to bring the information needed to do both of those things.